So I've made a lot of videos on this channel about attracting love, about signs that someone's meant to be in your life or signs they're not meant to be in your life. But in this video, I want to get right down to it and give you what really the ultimate thing in my eyes that's going to help you actually bring love, manifest love, have that reflected back to you in your life. And if you do what I go over in this video, you absolutely will find, not just in a romantic sense, but in really every sense of the word, you are bringing or having more love manifest into your life. This is so powerful when you grasp it and actually start applying it on a consistent basis. So let's get into it. So actually, before we even get into it, if you really want to start applying what I'm going to be going over in this video, then please get my higher self meditation. It's free, and if you do it for 21 days, it's actually going to go a long way to achieving the things we're going to go over in this video and so much more. It is a meditation where you're going to not only meet your higher self, but also kind of blend and mold into that person. You know, it's about who we are becoming and ultimately live more in that higher place from your higher self, making decisions, making choices, having thoughts from that place too. It's a very powerful meditation, and you can get it for free down below. Now let's get into how we actually manifest love. Now, there are 1,000,001 different strategies and different tools that I can give you, and I've given some of those on this channel, and that's all well and good, and those definitely work. But we want to take ourselves away from the outside world for a second, because I sometimes think when I give tools like this, it's misinterpreted what I'm going for here. Because the biggest thing, and it will remain the biggest thing because this has to do with the main law of the universe, is that it's the energy. It is the inner world that is more important than the outer world. This is why you can take two separate people, they can use the exact same tool and use it pretty similarly and get two vastly different results. Because if one is putting all of their hopes and expectations on this tool, they are making almost the tool their god. This is the thing that makes it work. It's not really going to work for them. Where if the other person understands it's about cultivating the inner world first, and this is just a tool that they've been brought to because of what they've been doing in their inner world, and it resonates with them instead of it being some heady analytical decision, then that person's going to get way more success because they're not putting all their emphasis on the tool. It's just what they have naturally flowed to because of the work they've done in the inner world, and this is the tool that's been presented to them. They go with the flow there, they use the tool, and it came to them for a reason, and therefore it usually works. Where other people, it's like, I need to find every little tool. This one didn't work after a week, on to the next one. This is how I attract love. This is how I attract blah, blah, blah. This affirmation is going to be the one, and they don't get results in their outer world. And that's not what I want. I want you to actually see changes in your physical reality and your inner reality. But the great thing about that is they go hand in hand, and that's especially true when it comes to love. So here is the crux of the whole thing, and this can be applied to things beyond love, beyond relationships, but relationships are a huge pillar in our lives, so we'll focus there. And it's this: outer world follows inner world. This is why if you put all of your emphasis, all of your energy into a tool that really isn't aligned to your inner world, but you're trying to force it because you see maybe other people have success with that tool, or maybe someone's told you this is the way, right? It's got to be this tool. Now that tool may work absolutely amazingly well, but if it's not aligned and doesn't resonate to you because you're not tuning into the inner world, you haven't cultivated the inner world, and you haven't been led to that tool through your inner world, then it's not going to work for you. You're going to then dismiss maybe something that could have worked for you. You're going to dismiss or really not take the lessons from it that you need to take. Because at the end of the day, the fundamental foundation here is that the outer world, your physical reality, follows the inner world, which is the quantum reality, which is the energetic realm. You know, you have the universe within you. You have essentially the power of God. We are all God, just walking around in this form, expressing ourselves in this 3D world, but we have those 5D abilities. We have those energetic abilities to really influence our outer world through our energy, but that's how we do it. And so when it comes to love and relationships, it's the exact exact same thing. You know, a lot of us go out and think, oh, if I put myself on that dating app, that'll do it. Or if I, you know, maybe I'll go learn pickup or whatever it is. And again, those will probably be two very useful tools. Or I'm going to go to things, you know, whatever it is, go to meetups or whatever else it is. And those can all be very useful physical things outside of you that can work, but is it what's going to necessarily work for you? And again, those things might be successful in getting you in a relationship or getting a friendship or whatever else, but is it about getting in any old relationship? Is it about having any, you know, old connection? Or is it about really finding someone or allowing someone to be reflected back to you that matches you? If we're talking about finding a match to who you are, then you can't put the emphasis on the tool. The tool will make itself known when you have cultivated the inner world. Your inner world will resonate with some things and not with another. I talk about the way I found the person who has just been an incredible force of love in my life. And it was not through any of the typical tools you would have ever thought of. It happened so synchronistically and in a way that you would think it was a Hollywood movie kind of like crazy love story. And that kind of stuff is possible. It can also be very mundane too, but that kind of stuff is possible when you cultivate the inner world and allow yourself to be led to the outer world tools based on what resonates with what's going on in the inner world. So the first thing to recognize and honor and understand, it's the basis of all of this, is the outer world follows your inner world. Now that's all well and good, but what does that mean? It means you will start bringing to you in the outer world what you are. Not what you want, but what you are. And this is such an important distinction. A lot of people think, well, I attract what I want or I manifest what I want. That's not the case at all. This is like law of attraction 101, universal principles 101. You do not get what you want, right? You do not get what you want. You get what you are. A lot of times the reason you don't have what you quote unquote want is because you haven't become the person who is reflecting that, transmitting that out so that they can receive it back. Guess what? When you become the person that is worthy, so to speak, inwardly is worthy and transmits the energy of love out, you open yourself up to bringing someone else in, or really bringing that into your reality, attracting that in, manifesting someone who's similar, and they're doing the same for you, by the way. You open yourself up to that because you are reflecting that out. You are getting essentially what you're putting out. Like attracts like. You can't be someone who is in an energy, let's say an inner world, let's say you have an inner world, it's just dominated by fear. That's the energy you're in a lot. Or anger, or jealousy, or, you know, we talk about some of these emotions that kind of ruin relationships, jealousy, anger, fear, that kind of thing, right? If that's what you're transmitting out, and then you say, I want a very loving relationship, I want someone who respects me and cares for me, well, if you're not cultivating that energy within yourself, it's not gonna be reflected back to you. Whatever you cultivate within yourself, in your inner world, is what ultimately will be mirrored back to you. You know, one thing to understand about the physical world, the outer world, is it is a mirror. It is always reflecting back to you the energy you have been cultivating in the inner world. And so if you have been in your inner world truly and genuinely cultivating the energy of love, you will find that being reflected back to you in your outer world. You'll probably find yourself, let's say I'm open to a divine connection, an amazing divine relationship. Let's say that's something that you want and that's something that you're open to, and you understand, okay, I need to be transmitting out what I want reflected back. And let's say you're doing all those things, you're probably going to find synchronicities happening in your life where you're being led now to certain tools or certain places to do certain things, and you don't even know why. And then boom, something happens where now you have this amazing person who is a match to that. Because again, we don't want to trust appearances here. We don't want to just attract someone to us that looks the part but then ends up not being an energetic match. Do you want someone in your life that kind of looks the part from like a mainstream perspective, ticks all the boxes, blah, 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 and you find out their energies is one of fear and guilt and shame and jealousy, maybe manipulative? No. You want someone that matches you and your energy. Like attracts like. People on the frequency of abundance, joy, peace, and love tend to band together and become attracted to each other. They find it easy to be around someone. I mean, do you find it easy to be around someone who's vastly different in energy than you? I, for one, typically do not. And I don't know many people who do. But we usually gravitate to those who have a similar energy. Now, this is not the personality styles. Like, there can be people who are more introverted, more extroverted, anything in between. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about energy. You can have someone who's in an energy of love who is extroverted and someone who's an energy of love who's a little more withdrawn. I'm personally, you wouldn't tell from the energy, maybe the kind of bubbliness I'm having in this video and kind of, all over the place-ness of it, but I'm actually a fairly introverted person. And the person I attracted into my life is a way more extroverted person, but it doesn't really matter because it's about the energy, not the appearances, not the physical, so to speak. So you can't have love reflected back to you in a consistent way, we'll say, if that's not what you're transmitting out. And so the big question is, who is it you need to become inwardly? A lot of people think, oh, who do I need to become? Do I need to dress differently? Do I need to, make myself look better or whatever? And that's great. And also when you cultivate your inner world, you'll probably be led to doing things like that. Like as I cultivated my inner world, for example, I was led to match it in my physical world by being very healthy, by working out more. And so that's gonna have a change in my physical appearance, in my energy levels, which are pretty high right now. But you will notice those differences, right? But ultimately it's about the inner world. Who do you need to become so that someone matches you and reflects back to you that which you are transmitting out? Because let me tell you something about your physical reality. I already said it's a mirror. Here's another way to look at it. It is your energetic history. Your energy is happening always in the present now. Your physical reality is a history of your energy. It is a history of your energy. It is your energetic past. There's something called the quantum to Newtonian transition point that says focused particle flow, focused energy in a specific direction will have dramatic effects in your physical reality in 6 to 8 weeks, because it just takes physical reality a little longer, it's a little slower. So what you're looking at in your physical reality is usually a lot of people will refresh their 6 to 8 weeks and they have the same thing over and over and over again because they're thinking the same things, having the same energy, having the same reactions over and over and over again. But you're essentially looking at your energetic history in your physical reality. And so who is it you need to become so that your inner world can then reflect or can transmit out and have the physical equivalent reflected back to you? And that is how you manifest love. That is how you allow someone, if it's a relationship you're looking for, but guess what? When you start cultivating self-love, it just happens, your whole life starts to beautify, not just the people that come in that are at that level of frequency that you're now resonating at, but so many other things can come in. But if it is for a relationship, it is for a friendship, whatever it is, you'll start finding that it's finding you and you're finding them in these synchronistic ways, in these amazing ways. You're being led to certain things that lead to this because you've cultivated the inner world, and the outer world always follows the inner world. So this, in my eyes, is the best way to manifest love, period. No more questions asked. This is it. Again, I can give you strategies, I can give you tools, but those aren't necessarily going to be the thing that works specifically for you unless you're drawn to it. And you won't know what you're drawn to. You won't know what that is for you unless you're working on that inner world, unless you are raising your consciousness, your awareness, your energy, and sustaining it at a new set point, a higher place. And when you do that, when you cultivate the inner, the outer begins to change. So thank you so much for tuning into this video. I hope it has helped you in some way and has given you an idea about this. And this, guys, again, this is my thoughts on it, but this is the whole game. It might not be what you expected. It may not even be what you wanted, but this is the whole game. And when you get this, when you live this, it starts to become easy and effortless. And you'll find you'll never go lacking for love in your life, pretty much for the most part. So thank you again for tuning in. Remember, you are loved, and I'll see you in the next one.